The Iran crisis has hit African aviation on two fronts consecutively, on operational disruptions and on cost escalation. And this has had a ripple effect on connectivity, on affordability of ticket prices by passengers, and on airline profitability. Firstly, on the connectivity shocks. Following the closure of the Middle East airspace and closure of some of the largest transit hubs in the Middle East, coupled by the grounding of the Gulf carriers, saw a drastic drop in passenger capacity for passengers that would normally transit via those routes and those hubs. Important to note here is that about 22% of intra-Africa traffic transits via hubs that are outside of the African continent. This disruption, therefore, opened doors for African hubs to be considered as alternative connection points for passengers traveling between Africa and the rest of the world. The resulting situation is that, based on data from IATA, African Airlines have seen a surge in demand estimated to about 20%. Secondly is the fuel crisis. Africa is experiencing a severe jet fuel crisis driven by the near total disruption of fuel flows at the Strait of Hormuz. That single choke point has now exposed a structural dependency that threatens operational continuity across the continent. I spoke to a few CEOs in a conference I attended a few days ago, and they mentioned to me that fuel surge is estimated between 80 to 100% from the onset of the crisis. That's about double the cost of fuel. Here we note that African Airlines fuel costs are about 30 to 40% of their total cost. So this situation makes the challenge much bigger for African Airlines. And the result is that we are seeing higher ticket prices, squeezed margins, and some of the airlines that I spoke with are considering capacity caps on some of their routes. Some of them are also considering consolidating their network just as part of the austerity measures to navigate this crisis. Therefore, African Airlines are left with the choice of either absorbing these losses or raising the fares. None of these situations, none of these choices are sustainable in the long term. So thirdly, the strategic inflection point. African carriers need to be supported to manage fuel volatility, intra-Africa connectivity, geopolitical risks, and that demands resilience, cost discipline, and urgent policy support.